Hello, creative people. Welcome to Creative Conversations. My name is Hollis Citron, and we are so truly happy that you have chosen to spend this hour with us. So, a little background on the podcast. I am owner and founder of I Am Creative and Express Yourself Publishing. My mission is to expand that quote-unquote societal definition of creativity beyond a pencil and a paintbrush and empower people, especially adults, to own their talents that come in so many different forms. So I've created this space so that I can get to talk to people that have all different jobs, hobbies, and interests, and we get to have a conversation about their experiences and perspectives, all centered around three questions. 1, how do you define creativity? 2, how do you incorporate it into your life? And 3, why do you think it's important? Then we have a free-flowing conversation, and we see where it goes from there. So I have had the honor to have spoken to entrepreneurs as young as 13, handwriting specialist, biologist, personal organizer, doctor, lawyer, and so many more. And the idea is that by sharing their stories, we get to explore the space of expressing yourself, giving yourself permission to take time for your interests and explore possibilities. And by doing all of this and incorporating it into your world daily, I promise you will feel more empowered, connected, and dare I say, happy. So, let me introduce my inspiring guest for today is Georgia Hansen. Georgia is an eclectic mix of public relations and marketing communication savvy, intuitive-based wisdom and approaches. Anyway, sorry. A wife, mother of 4 earthside babies, an angel mama to 1 in heaven. Georgia's mission is to teach about grace and magic, and how to find grace in grief and magic in the tragic. So, Georgia, I'm sorry. In the beginning, I butchered your bio a little bit. I kind of skipped on whatever. Anyway, so I'm very happy that you're here. And could you please expand and tell us a little bit more about who you are before we go further?
Sure. So I'm a mama of 5. 4 of my babies reside earthside with me, and 1 is part of the infinite cosmos. That's how I like to describe her. She was stillborn almost 4 years ago, and she was the catalyst for everything in my life. I see myself as kind of before and after that life-changing event. So I had a background of PR and marketing for about 15 years. I was in that industry in various different sectors, and I was on this journey of awakening for the last 8 or 10 years and tuning right into my intuition and using that to guide my life. And then when Amelia passed, my daughter passed away during labor, we arrived at hospital, and we arrived there and found out that there was no heartbeat, and she was our long-awaited little baby girl after 3 boys. And we had known about her. I had dreamed about her. I had seen her as a little toddler. I had communed with her soul for many years before she came. And I knew that in the moment that she passed, I knew that she was, that it wasn't happening for no reason. There was a reason even in that moment. I knew that. So my life goal now and my soul's purpose is to make sure that her legacy lives on through me, and that I share her message, which is, finding grace in your grief and magic in the tragic. And when you can find that in the deepest caverns of your heart, when you've experienced something as tragic as that, then life gets to be blissful and full of grace. And that's what I'm here to teach. And I'm now, just in the last week, soft launching my beautiful creation into the world, which is called the Chrysalis magazine. And it's combining my background in publications and marketing and PR and my experience and my intuition and my training in intuition, and bringing something magical to the world for women who feel themselves transforming and feeling a change within them, maybe, and bridging the gap between the 3D and the spiritual world, and making it not so woo-woo and accessible for everyone, because I truly believe that it's not it's not woo-woo, and that everyone can access their inner wisdom and their inner compass and use that as a guide for their life. And anyone who's going through any kind of change, and as women, we are all experiencing some kind of deep change within us. And so the chrysalis is there as a resource and a tool, and something that women can anchor themselves into and find their own beauty and grace and magic within the pages of extraordinary stories of other inspiring women and beautiful tools and resources and imagery. So yeah, that was a big long-winded who are you?
No, you know what? It's amazing because the words that were coming to me as you were speaking was just like the one word I should say is connection. I love when you were speaking about Amelia and saying that you had a connection before she was here. You'd been dreaming about her. You've already like established that. And what's so beautiful to me in your mission and what you do is that whole finding grace in grief. It's really right now I'm a little speechless just because it's really powerful.
Yeah. And it hits people in the heart. It hit me in the heart when I first heard it. I don't remember when it came to me, but it was a mission that I felt immediately upon arriving at that point in our life where that experience happened. In that very moment, I had God, or whatever you want to call it, source, spirit, enter every cell of my being and say to me, and it was loud, like a vibration that I can't explain. But the words were, everything is actually going to be okay. And, I trusted that notion because everything in me, like there was no other way for me. There was no other choice. If I didn't trust that, then I would cease to exist. Everything around me would cease to exist.
Did you hear that after, like soon after you had lost her, or immediately you heard everything is going to be okay?
They had told me. So the third doctor had told me in the consult room. They had to get 3 doctors to confirm it on it because I was in deep active labour and contracting, a minute apart with 10-second break, and it's like the labour just stopped for a few minutes. It probably didn't. I just didn't feel anything. I was numb, and it was within moments of that. I had the primal screams of a mother, and it wasn't until like my husband's face was right in front of mine, and it wasn't until the moment when he looked in he was cupping my face, and I said to him, no, this can't be happening. And he said, it was his words that made me believe it when he said, yes, honey, it's true. She's gone. And then I had the primal screams of a mother who's just lost her young. And then it was moments after that. Like, I don't know whether it felt like eternity, but I don't know whether it was seconds or minutes, but it was within moments when I felt that vibration come through me. And then I just, I went on to still be screaming at them and telling them, I would just get her out of me. And then I went on to have, after, they calmed me down and said, this is reasons why we are suggesting that you have a natural birth still. Went on to have a beautiful, sacred, most magical, sacred, devastating, tragic, all of the things in one experience of her birth. And but I knew in that it was in moments. So that's how I know how powerful this stuff is, because to be experiencing that kind of trust in that moment, it shows me that anyone, no matter what we're facing, can lean back into something bigger than us.
Yeah. Okay, this is going to be good. Okay, this is a little bit on a lighter note. I'm going to start with a would you rather question. Seems like a weird segue here, but we're going to do that, and then we're going to dive into the first question. So, Georgia, would you rather be able to jump as far as a kangaroo or hold your breath as long as a whale?
Oh, the second one gives me creeps, so I'm going to say definitely jump as far as a kangaroo, I think.
That's really funny. Is it the underwater thing that gives you the creeps,
Yeah,
or yeah?
and holding my breath like underwater, and no, no, that's not.
Yeah, I totally get it. When I was thinking about this question, I thought, I that would be so cool to be able to jump that far. The underwater thing could come in handy at
Yeah,
certain points. But yeah,
I just thought, no, I don't want to.
I admit, yeah, it is a creepy thought. So, okay. So, Georgia, the first question is, how do you define creativity?
Yeah, I've been thinking since we chatted last week about this question, and I still didn't have an answer to define it.
Uh-huh.
So I'm just going to lean into whatever comes out. But how do I define creativity? I guess um, it's your expression, but there's a word behind that. It's your embodied expression, and it it can be in whatever shape, way, form. I think when we allow ourselves to be truly creative and not define it by, like you draw this picture, I guess as in school we're taught to, we have to draw this thing today, or we have to paint with these colors. I think when
Mhm.
you let go of all of the stories and the conditionings around what creativity should look like, it's really just our truth and our most true and beautiful expression of who we are in whatever way that feels good.
So there we
Yeah.
go. You know what you're saying. Yeah, let go of the stories of our truth.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah, because it's
Yeah.
true. You're exactly right. It's that whole conditioning um, that we are taught that it's supposed to look a certain way, and that certain people fall into it and other people don't. And it's very segmented, categorized, I find, which is why I started my company, where it's just expanding that definition so people can see themselves within that definition. So
Yeah.
expanding it beyond the pencil and the paintbrush, because going to art school, and being an art teacher and all that kind of stuff, people immediately are like, well, I can't draw or paint. I'm like, well,
Well,
neither can I.
exactly.
Like,
When we started this conversation, like when you asked me to be on this, I was like, I'm not creative, and then I realized that I'm a writer, and I can do graphic design, and I'm creating a magazine. That's pretty damn creative.
pretty damn creative. And beyond that, I mean, you were in PR, marketing, and then so there's that whole world. But imagining, um, exploring, communicating, all of these are creative. They're all creative,
Yeah.
they're all expressions. They're all you. I mean, what you said about that feeling that you got, that vibration that you got, that truth that you heard. I mean, that's powerful because that's transformational.
Yeah. Yeah. It truly is. Yeah. Yeah. And I don't know if you've ever heard, like Einstein. Um, he basically defined imagination as our intuition. They're one and the same, and they're not separate. So whatever um, whatever is imagined is is things have to be imagined before they become a reality. And so anything that is imagined is a possibility to become real. And the two are interchangeable. So our intuition is basically just a source that has come from somewhere, and we think that it's this non-accessible thing, or that only gifted people have it, but the two are interlinked, and we all have imagination, therefore we all have intuition, and we all have some form of creativity, and it can really drive our life. So
Yeah. Yeah.
when yeah I just hadn't thought about creativity in that way, because I had these stories around, artists and musicians and those kind of people being creative. But really, everyone has creativity, whether it's using a voice or writing or, in every way, shape, or form, we can be creative.
Exactly. And even like when you were talking, I was thinking, a lot of people will say, well, I'm not very imaginative and all of that kind of stuff. But think of it as when you're thinking about what to make for a meal. Like that's using your imagination. That's kind of forming up a concept where you either see it in images or, of what's going to go in it, or you kind of hear it, or however it is for you, your mouth starts to water and all that kind of stuff. Like it's as simple as that. Also, like driving wherever you're going, it can be really intuitive, but you could kind of see your path along the way. That's like a vision. That's using your imagination of how you're getting from point A to point B. And there can be fun in that with switching it up. Instead of doing your regular way that you go, try a different way.
My husband does that everywhere we go. He chooses a different way. Drives me insane, because I like to know which way I'm going, and and he changes it up. And yeah, but it's just his way of keeping things interesting.
That's so funny. So can you said an interesting point to me that I'd like you to expand on if you could, where you said bridging the gap between 3D and spiritual.
Yeah.
Can you explain what that means exactly to you?
So, I guess the 3D realm is here, Earth, physical, our physical bodies, our day-to-day physical life that we're living. And then there's the 5D, the spiritual world, which is, sacred site and seeing things from a much bigger picture. I guess that's what people would term as spirituality, like having a belief in the universe always working on our behalf, and all of the other realms outside of this physical domain that we're in. I could talk for hours on it, but I know that there's I don't know what your listeners' audience is, but that's how I guess the gap for me to bridge is to show people that it's not about religion or God or something out there that's unattainable or unaccessible. Um, Sacred site or your intuition, tuning back into your inner compass, is available to each and every one of us. And when you can use that intuition, and I'm not talking about your gut instinct, I'm talking about like your heart and your soul and your inner wisdom, which is tuning into like another frequency, a non-local intuition. So your guides, I guess, your sacred site, if you can tune into that and let that guide guide your life. And I use my intuition to guide every micro and macro decision that I make, on a day-to-day basis, for the big things, for the little things. And by that I mean Amelia, and I have a whole invisible team of supporters guiding me, and that I tune into on a daily basis. And I build that relationship and cultivate that connection, have done for many years, and now I use it too. So I've kind of got my hand off the wheel, letting them drive this ship, especially with the magazine. And when we can use that, as our own guidance, then the whole game changes. And it doesn't have to be, like you're part of a church, or that you're religious, or that you're in this big spiritual, woo-woo kind of network. It's just tuning back in. And when you listen to the soft whispers, your soul is speaking to you every single day in every way. We tend to think, we tend to listen to our mind a lot, our ego, our human mind, and that's where there's we listen to the fears and the worries. But when you can tune into that calmness, and it's a really subtle whisper, but when it gets louder, the more that you listen and the more that you tune in. So that's what I mean, I guess, is bridging that gap, making it not spiritual and not woo-woo and out there and crazy. It's actually not. It's just tuning back into yourself, like your highest form of wisdom. So does that make sense?
It does. I'm getting feedback again. It's kind of like I hear my echo in the background. I don't know if you can hear that.
I can't hear anything.
Yeah. Okay. It's okay. It was just as you were speaking, I was thinking, I really like that separation that you made between intuition and your gut. Because so many people do say, and I say it too, it's like follow your gut, follow that feeling that you get, that butterfly feeling you get in your stomach, or, that sinking feeling, but I guess if we could dive a little deeper into that, and if you could define that a little bit more, I think that's a great distinction.
Yeah, I mean, and it is what we've heard is that, our gut instinct is what we think our intuition is, and it's one type of intuition. It's that fight or flight mode intuition. When you walk into a room and you can feel the tension, or you can feel, that that something, or you can feel like, if you're walking and you feel unsafe, there's a stranger behind you. That's your gut instinct, and it's really vital that we tune into that as well. But there is another form of intuition. There are three types that I learned last year during my training as a third level priestess. There are three types, and one is that we have like a knowledge, like the word has escaped me, but like a knowledge of when you do something over and over, and it just comes naturally, like a mechanic who can look at a car and hear it tinker and just know what's wrong with it. Mm-hmm. That's one kind of, knowledge or wisdom that we just hold. And then there is the gut instinct, which is that fight or flight. Something's wrong. That that you're in an unsafe environment, or this is safe, and that is a bodily instinct. That's why they call it a gut instinct, I guess, is because you'll get your body giving you signs. And then there's non-local, and that is when you tune into a higher frequency. So whether you call it your soul, whether you call it your higher self, guides, angels, whatever you believe in, I believe in it all. But it's non-local because it's not from this physical realm. It's from a higher source, a higher being, God, whatever you want to call it. And that is that's I guess the wisest, the inner, that's what you call like the inner compass, and that's the subtle whispers. And when people tune into spirit who have passed and lost family members, they're tuning into an intuition, like and there's I don't know if you've heard of the clairs, the clairvoyance, clairaudient.
Yes.
Yes. You'll be dominantly one of those clairs, and when you realize which one you are, then you can tune in and listen. So I always thought that I was claircognizant and that I had this just this knowing, and it turns out that I'm actually clairaudient as a dominant. So I hear things and then I get an instant knowing about something, whereas others might be clairvoyant first, so they have a vision and then they might hear. And it's really interesting when you can learn that and tune into it. It's almost like you open up the portal and you can hear it clearer, or you can see it clearer. And the more that you listen and go by that guidance and be grateful for it, you get more of it coming your way. So does that explain?
Yeah, I love that description. Thank you for that. It's just really so much about knowing who you truly are. And when you hear these things, like when you said that you found out that you were, clairaudio, or however you said it. Is that correct? Am I saying it correctly? Clairaudio?
Clairaudient.
Claudience. And then that turns into knowing, where you thought the knowing came first, but it's like the hearing first to then the knowing. And when you know these things and understand these things about yourself, it's just you're so much more in flow, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
It does,
Exactly.
doesn't feel like you're struggling so much, like always searching for in that fear, worry mindset. And you're kind of, you know who you are and you know what your strengths are. And it just feels easier.
Yeah, and I mean, we're still human. We still
Right.
have those fears as human, like, of course. But when you can recognize when something is fear or it's your ego, it just gets so much easier to just acknowledge it and then let it go. And I'm a big believer in feeling everything, feeling, because I've had to feel everything, sometimes all within in the same moment, like the sadness and the grief, the rawness, as well as being in grace and knowing and feeling that everything's okay. Like, it's, you have to feel everything and move through it, and we're
Yeah.
human. But not pretending that everything's unicorns and rainbows, because that's not what we're here for, really.
Right.
But yeah, like, you have that flow and you can move with grace and calmness through everything a lot easier, and experience the highs and lows in the way that we're meant to, which is why we're here and living this life. So
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'm wondering, and you may have said it before, and I apologize if you did, and I missed it. But when you were back in your world of PR and marketing, were you as tapped into this side of yourself? Into the no.
I'm still in this world now. I run a PR agency with my best friend. It's her agency, and I helped take over late last year, and I am now back when I first started. I guess I always, like, when I'm writing and producing things for clients, I guess I just didn't realize. I didn't realize that I was. Now I do realize, and I trust. Like, when I'm creating campaigns or creating anything that's creative, I just I get the ideas, they come to me, and I don't question them anymore. I guess I would have used to question. Now I just go, okay, well, this is what this is meant to look like, and most of the time it's spot on. Other times it just needs tweaking, but it's a whole lot of it's what's the opposite of time wasting? Like, I don't waste time in questioning myself anymore, I guess. So
Yeah.
it can be used in every kind of, no matter what you do in life. Tuning into your intuition can be, like, you be so much more effective and efficient in everything.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, definitely. That's so important. And oh my gosh, I totally understand that whole thing with s- trusting yourself more. So then you're not wasting 3 hours back and forth. And my husband can attest to this. Um, I'll be like, well, I don't know. What do you think? Well, is that the right thing to do? Or I was thinking, he hates that. I was thinking, he's like, oh God, you were thinking because you made a decision. Usually that's in reference to questioning myself. It's a different tone when it's like, oh, I have an idea, or I've been thinking about this. That's the excitement of this idea being about to be birthed. But then, yeah, he's just writing now. Don't think. When I say I've been thinking, he's like, oh no.
how funny.
So, well, that was kind of the perfect segue actually to the second question, which is how do you incorporate creativity into your own life?
Yeah, and I think, like you said, it's incorporated in all of my things. Because if I look at creativity as a form of my intuition, then I use my intuition. I know that I use my intuition for every part of my life. And if I was to interchange the two, then it would be for everything. So I mean, I'm not a great cook, so I can't claim that that is very creative. But like in helping the kids, in my work, in all of my different works, um,
Mhm.
in like organizing. It's my son's birthday this weekend. It's my 40th next month. Just um, in all of the, I guess it's in all of the things coming together, isn't it? It's all of the pieces of the puzzle. It's not just like I'll create this and that's my creativity. It's in combining all of the pieces of magic. So it's like booking the restaurant um, and having that flow with who's coming, and it's all creativity, isn't it? When you
Yeah.
look at it,
Yeah, I
yeah,
love that. Combining pieces of magic.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, combining all the pieces. Well, first, happy birthday to both you and your son.
Oh, thank you. Yeah,
Yay.
he's 7 year old. I can't believe it.
How old did you say?
7, my youngest boy. Yeah, he's 7.
Wow. What is that? What are the what's the birthday celebration looking like? Anything
Oh,
big or is it pretty mellow?
not this year, no, just a family. We're combining it with my nephew's birthday, so it's just a family little morning tea. So that's okay. My birthday is going to be a whole month worth of celebrations, though.
Yes.
I never celebrate my birthday in any way, but I just figured like I'm just going to do little bits and pieces with different groups of people and just bring in the next decade with fire and grace and magic.
Love that. Love that. Yeah, there is something, I never really was into celebrating birthdays for myself, but then I think as I got older, kind of realized it's an attention thing. Like I just didn't want the attention so
Yeah,
much. There's like an uncomfortableness with it. Um, when I know people that were like, it's my birthday week, it's my birthday month, and it's just fun, you know?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's a
And you're exactly the same as me. I didn't want that attention, and then now I'm like, no, give it to me. I'm deserve to be celebrated.
You do. And yeah, Kelly, you're right. Turning 40 is the best. And then turning 50 is the best. And turning 60 is the best. Um, yeah. Yeah. Tell us at least one or two things that you want that you're going to be doing for yourself.
Well, I'm having a ladies' dinner. Kelly is actually one of my really dear friends, so she'll be there,
Hmm.
and then I'm going to have maybe a high tea, and then I'm having a family get together, and then I'm hoping they don't know yet, but I'm hoping like some other groups of friends can catch up and just little. I think because I was thinking of having a big party, but you don't get to enjoy people, and if people have to come from like if they have to drive or travel to be there and you feel like you only get 15 minutes really spending time with them, I'd rather just yeah, like have more intimate occasions and yeah, so I'm doing just a few different things like that. It'd be good.
Yeah, I think that's nice. It's very true. When there's all these people there, it's kind of like you don't get quality time. And it really is about the quality time, isn't it? Like actually talking to people and
Yeah.
being there and like listening instead of thinking, oh, okay, that's great. Now I have to run to the next person kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. And I think lots of my friends are kind of in different little stages of life and groups. I don't have like a massive group of friends from that have been my friends for 20 years. Like some people have just, group of uni friends or whatever. I've had so many different environments where I've made and touched, had people touch my heart along the way. Um, and I just want to be able to spend quality time with all of them. So yeah, that's the way I'm doing it this year. Whether I'll
Yeah.
do it different years, but
I think what's been going on too with kind of what's been going on in the world, I don't know if that has an effect for you on the way you see things, but I think for me, definitely it's kind of affected things. You just really want to have quality time.
it has. I think you'd be living under a rock if you hadn't felt that or experienced that now. I think we've all, and it's been a horrible time, but it's also been so important for the lessons that it's taught us.
Yeah.
That's what.
Yeah, totally agreed. So tell us about the magazine. Tell us about this creation.
So yeah, I've wanted to have. I've created lots of publications in my career, and it's been my favorite part of my role. It's since I walked into uni in the course of desktop publishing, and went, wow, this is how you create, a magazine or a publication. And I guess always wanted to do something. I studied a degree in journalism and always wanted to be in PR or, the back end of writing and learning all of those things. But even before that, I think as a child, I had a dream of starting a magazine. And it was earlier in this year because I've been training as a guide and helping angel mums and wanting to, not having all of these different things that I want to do, and not really knowing which one to start with to, what was the moving part of Amelia's legacy to start with. And at the beginning of the year, I had this meltdown and said to my husband, I just don't know what I'm meant to do. And he just said, just do what the F you want. I don't know if we swear on this show.
No. Yeah, sure.
Do what you actually want to do. Don't feel like you have to serve a certain person. Like I want to help angel mamas, but um, I didn't know in which way, and I guess just I didn't want to work and heal and coach. I can do all of that, but it just was never me. So, and I knew that I was meant to um, talk to people on the masses and spread my message in that way. And it just came, like immediately after he said that to me, because it's been popping into my head every now and then. My intuition would say, "Do the magazine, start the magazine," like for the last 4 years, and I'd be like, "Yeah, do that."
Mm-hmm.
Or, that's not the first thing, or whatever, and it kept on popping up. And when he said it was immediate, it was like loud, "Start the magazine," and I within half an hour, I reached out to a woman who I know who has created her own magazine here in Australia, and who I published an article with. And I just said, would you be interested in helping me, like mentoring me to create my own magazine? She's like, yes. And so I've been mentoring with her for the last few months, and I wasn't planning on launching it or soft launching until Amelia's birthday. And last week on Tuesday night, it was my 12-month anniversary. I had a gastric sleeve surgery 12 months ago, and it was my 12-month anniversary. And she's like, you're exiting the chrysalis and it's time to get it out there to tell everyone what you're doing. And so that night I stayed up all night and got the website finished, and my first package is ready, because I knew that I would be offering space in the magazine along with PR and marketing services for businesses, and then there'll be other ways to be involved as well. But so the chrysalis is the why behind it is, it's when a woman is transforming, but she can feel it and sense it and taste something is changing about her, but she can't quite see it because there's this veil over her, and that's because she's inside the chrysalis. As she's transforming, she can't quite see. So while she's in there, she's learning and finding her own beauty and grace, just like the butterfly does, and then she's ready to emerge as this beautiful butterfly. And the name came to me in one of the sessions with my mentor, and I had all these other names. I thought it was going to be like a mixture of Amber, my daughter, who's come back as a rainbow baby, and Amelia. I thought it was going to be like Ambelia or Ambrosia or something. And then I was sitting in my room and I turned to her shrine, where we have her ashes and her photos and stuff, and I just saw. The name just came, the chrysalis, and it was kind of a conscious encoding symbol that I used throughout all of last year when I was doing my training. And I would always just have this imagination of a chrysalis. I was inside this chrysalis, changing and transforming. And yeah, so it was perfect. So yeah, I'm drawing in women, extraordinary women with amazing stories, um, and and soul-led, heart-centered businesswomen who want to be seen and heard, and who need help with publicity and PR, and who want space to share their story and share their message. So yeah, that's a very roundabout way of talking about and long-winded way of talking about what it is. So, but as you can tell, I'm quite excited.
Well, as you should be. And what's incredible in listening to the story is it's kind of like in the movie When Harry Met Sally. They're like, we got married. They're like, well, 12 years and 4 months later, kind of thing. But you've been thinking about this since you were a kid. But when you stepped into it and really owned it and heard its time, then it happened like overnight, literally. Like you called up that person and within a half hour and they were ready to mentor you and you did a website overnight.
Well, the mentoring started early in the year, so I've been mentoring with her for months. But it was last week when I was like, and Amelia just said it's time. And the thing that has driven me to why it happened overnight is because I literally let go and let the same as I did when in her birth. I called in my guides and I called in the team and I just said, I cannot do this. You will have to take over. And I let go, and I don't know if I really exited my body, but I was not the one giving birth to her, and I was there, but I was, so there was so much light and grace, and she was born. I didn't even push. She was born. And this is after someone who had 4.5 hours of labor, of pushing with my first and a vacuum. She was just born, and it feels like this is the same thing. I've gone, okay, well, if this is what you want me to do, then do it. And I will do the actions that I'm told, that I'm not attached to any outcome to it. If this is meant to be in the world, then it will be. And I just trust. Same with everything in life. It just comes back to trust and faith, and you can't go wrong then. It'll just lead me where it's meant to go. So yeah, there was that. I had to step back and get out of the way and let the higher beings take over, and so that's how it came to be overnight.
God, yeah, that word trust, that's coming up a lot in this conversation. Yeah, trust. And I like what you said. You said also is not attached to the outcome. Yeah.
It's really hard when you really don't want to be like I'm not attached to the outcome. I'm just going to surrender it all. I surrender. I promise I'm surrendering. But when you actually truly just can, and I don't know what that secret sauce is yet. I don't know what that flick of the switch is when you can actually just, like, if I could bottle it and sell it, like, it would be amazing. But there's something where you just get to a point, and I have had this with my health journey recently. You get to a point where it's almost like you hit, not even rock bottom, but you just hit a point where you just can't control it anymore, and you can't control the outcome, and you just have to surrender. And when you get to that moment of true surrender, then it's almost like everything is lifted off you. All of the weight is lifted off you, and you just, it's not a matter of not caring anymore. It's just that like that unattachment to it.
Yeah. It's I understand. It feels different. There's definitely a different feel to it. It's making me think of, I was listening on a podcast to Gwyneth Paltrow on Goop. I don't know if you heard of her show that she has. It's a Netflix show, but she has a podcast. And anyway, she was interviewing Oprah Winfrey, and Oprah Winfrey was talking about, and this story, I don't know if it's going to make me cry when I say it, but she said that Oprah said that she learned just along her journey of what she was learning was to be a listener in all of her years. And she remembers one particular story where a mom was talking about her son that died. And as he was dying, right before he passed, she said nobody would have heard it unless she crawled into the bed next to him and he whispered. It was like just a whisper, and he said, "Now I get it. It doesn't have to be this hard." And then he died.
Yep.
And she said that was the amazing thing about it was nobody would have heard that because he was speaking at a whisper. But that power of it was just kind of like that enlightenment.
Yeah. If we listen. It's funny. Another segue, and obviously I meant to talk about it. I'm creating another business with a dear friend of mine, and we've been in creation for that for the last 8 months, and it's a sister to the Chrysalis magazine. And it was started out as something that's pivoted so many times during the way, but it started out as like an intuitive business school, and it has become a completely different thing. It's a hub, an entity, a communication, a collaboration of community, I guess, of women that we're wanting to draw in. And we have been doing the branding and, you know, all of the background, really digging in deep to who this is. And we're almost ready to launch, but we've just, it comes back to trust. We actually don't even know what we're holding courses and retreats, and the chrysalis will be underneath it. There'll be also angel mama section where we sell, or we have resources there for angel mamas, and then all different things. But we just came back to trust, and it's called, the business name came to us. It's called Hakka Rose, and Hakka Rose. It's rose. The rose obviously means a lot to me. We had a rose bush that was given to us as a gift when we lost Amelia, and we took care and nurtured that rose as if she was our baby, and she bloomed exactly at the right times. Always, she bloomed for the first 6 months nonstop, even in winter, and then she bloomed, in the poignant times of when we needed her, and she was always like a spiritual. This is our connection to our baby. So the rose, and the rose means something to my business partner as well. But the other part of it, Hakka, you gotta fall off when you know what that means. So it means a Scot, which my dad was a Scot. He passed away when I was 6, and her husband is a Scot. So that was the first meaning, but it also means to listen. So listen, like listen to your intuition, listen, and then rise, like rose, like the rose, and then rise, and we're just like, and this entity of this Hakka Rose is we see her as like a cosmic mother, sister, like your best friend or your auntie that you can just sit down and share your every part of your soul to, and she'll just sit and listen, and that's the community and the hub that we want to create. It's almost like we just trust in her as well, and that she will she'll bring to the world what she's meant to. So it's so funny that I was obviously meant to talk about that as well.
God, oh my gosh, you are literally birthing so many things right now that are so powerful and just full of space of love, like just these loving spaces.
Yeah, and I think like that story with Oprah, like it comes back down to stopping and taking a look around and looking into the things that are sacred around us, because everything is sacred. And if we see through a different lens and perspective, which I have the gift of now, I've got this gift of looking at things through a completely different lens. And when we can look at it that way, life just becomes completely different and sacred and beautiful and magic. And I don't really know. Like, I'm a bit speechless now as well.
Yeah, it's just this is like a perfect segue to get to, we're getting close to the top of the hour. So with the third question being, so why do you think that creativity is important?
Well, I think it is our truest expression, and that's what we're here for. We're here to be who we really are, expressed in our own unique blueprint, our own unique way. And it's at the core of everything that we're here, that we do and we're here for. So, yeah, I'd say it's as simple as that, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. As simple and as complicated, but as
Exactly.
but as simple. Yeah, I wanted to ask so the magazine, is it going to be online, or is it actually something that people can hold, or
Yeah,
what?
no, it's not a print magazine. Digital, I didn't realize because, people say magazines are kind of, part of the past now, but actually digital magazines are growing exponentially. The market is, I think I looked at it, was like, I forget it, but it had grown like from 7 billion to 18 billion market cap or something in the last few years. So, it's not something, because I have had a few people saying, "Oh, why do you want to do a magazine for? Because that's not the way of the future." And I was like, "Yeah, it is."
Right.
People still want to read stuff, and yeah, so it will be. And I had a feeling that it would. I thought at the beginning it would just be an Australian thing, but I've already got women from all over the world wanting to be part of it, so it'll be global, and yeah, I have a big vision for it, but at the same time, it's one step at a time. And yeah, so if anyone wants to contribute or is interested in advertising or wants to share an article, I would love, 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 love to hear from them. So, yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I would love to talk to you about that. Yeah.
Yes, I will get in touch with you. Like, we can have a chat offline about that.
Yeah. Yeah. But I'm sure, as it sounds like so many things that have happened, these big ideas that you get is that you'll get the download and then you'll act on it pretty quickly.
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes sometimes I take a while, but I think now I'm acting pretty quick, because if you don't, it kind of it just sits there. It's yes, the downloads are great and everything, but it takes aligned action, doesn't it? So
Yeah.
nothing is
Yeah.
birthed without.
Yeah, there's all these, I get ideas for things, and then, yeah, it's just like taking the action. And then oftentimes it'll be a very kind of a wiggly line on how you actually get there. But it's taking some kind of action, like just like you did with reaching out to that person who's now your mentor. You reached
Yeah,
out immediately. You were like, yeah. And you established that, which then took it to the next step to make it a real thing.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And sometimes you have to step completely out of your comfort zone to do that, and just trust again, trust.
Yeah. So actually leaving that to the listeners is, what are you doing? What are you going to do where you could just trust and get a little uncomfortable?
Mm,
Like, you
yeah.
got to get a little uncomfortable to get out of your comfort zone a little bit. And even if that thing is like going skydiving, which is a big thing for me, that would be very uncomfortable.
Oh, it is on my bucket list. I actually, funnily, I had a dream a few weeks ago, and I was in a spaceship or some kind of like space station or something out of the atmosphere, and I had to get on this in this suit, like just my clothes and a parachute on my back, and I had to jump, and I had to jump back to Earth, and I was trusting that I would land where they told me that I'm going to land, but I had no choice, and it was like taking this giant leap of faith. And then it like worked out. Then in a few weeks' time, that was exactly what I was doing, like taking this massive leap of faith. And it's, yeah, like, so that's funny that you said that, because I do have that on I don't know whether I will do it one day, but I would love to. I think it would just be so liberating and crazy. And yeah.
Maybe that could be on your birthday month, your
Oh,
thing.
not now, maybe later.
Maybe that'll be 50.
Yeah, that'll be my present to myself.
Exactly. Oh my God, Georgia, can you please tell people how they can connect with you?
Yeah, so you can find me. Our website is www.harkerose, HARKEROSE.com. But then we're on Instagram. The Chrysalis.magazine is Instagram, and Facebook as well as the Chrysalis magazine, and then Hakka Rose on both as well. So, and then you can connect with me personally, Georgia M. Hansen. I think you'll find me at on Instagram and Facebook. So I'd love to hear from you. I'd love for you to come along and come for the journey and reach out if there's. I've got expressions of interest for. Maybe I'll pop it in the chat. Can we do that? Can we
Yeah,
put links?
you can. It's going to end kind of like when we end. They won't be able to see it. So what I'll do is you'll send it to me, and I can put it in the bio, I think, of the podcast. Or you can drop it in real quick, but then we'll also back it up with putting it in the bio.
Yeah, I'd have to go find the links and stuff. So I'll send it to you, and we can put it in the bio. Sounds great.
Okay. So before I end with my spiel, is there something that you want to give these amazing people just as like final words of advice, some Georgia wisdom?
I think, it comes back down to leaning into those subtle whispers that are guiding you and that you can let guide you. Not the loud ego mind, but your heart and your soul and your inner compass, because when you tune into that, then you can literally change your life. So that would be my wisdom.
Which is an incredible way to end. So Georgia, thank you so much for taking this hour. I know that you are a very busy person, and it's now 10 o'clock in the morning your time. And I just appreciate you. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure and such an awesome chat. So I'm very, very grateful.
Thank you. And people who are here live with us, thank you so much for spending this hour. I know time is precious, and some people are just popping on when we're about to pop off, but the replay will be up in the next few days. So those that are catching the replay, thank you so much. And this place is all about inspiring each other, connecting, and sharing stories. So please like, follow, and share, so we can just get this conversation going and we can just be connected, because it's what it's all about. So I wish you a good morning, a good afternoon, a good evening, wherever you are in this world. And we'll be talking to you really soon. So goodbye, everybody. Feeling inspired? There are so many ways to do things for you, to get yourself moving, to get your creative juices flowing, and to have fun. Check out I Am Creative and Express Yourself Publishing. Go to iamcreativephilly.com, iamcreativephilly, PHILLY.com, and check out the experiential kits. Check out Creative Shui, which is all about creative inspiration and guidance. And for Express Yourself Publishing, there's so many multi-author book opportunities. So I would love to chat with you so much. Everybody's creative. Everybody has a voice. Everybody has an expression, and I can't wait to meet you. Thank you so much for taking this hour to listen to our stories and share the energy. And I wish you a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in this world. Bye, everybody.